Ah, Hi everybody, this is Kiara here. So it's April 4th, 2020, and I would like to welcome you all to this Facebook Live meditation. And just a bit of a background for the day. I know that there's many people who are joining in today during this special time for a global meditation to support the awakening, support our healing as a collective consciousness. And this includes our ability to ride this wave that you're experiencing now with our entire system in chaos with the coronavirus and the resulting decisions that are being made by various governments. It's the time of cleansing. And just in perspective, I would like to share the astrology of these times. Pluto, as you all might know, is a planet that represents the process of transformation. So it's the death and rebirth. It's the awakening. It's the renewal. It's resurrection. And this planet is coming into enormous focus right now. During the past many years, the planet Uranus, which represents intense change and breaking up old systems, challenging old paradigms, has been in square with Pluto. In the last year, Saturn, the planet representing the breakdown of structures, is now coming into conjunction with Pluto in Capricorn. So the earlier part of this year, January, February, March, was the beginning of this breakdown process. And then Saturn moved into Aquarius, which, as you all know, is the dawn of the age of light, of renewal, of new consciousness entering into our global consciousness. But what does a Saturn-Pluto conjunction represent? If it's about breaking down anything that's dysfunctional, anything that's not working within any of our systems. Capricorn represents our systems, our structures, whether it has to do with the physical body or whether it has to do with various planetary systems, our political, our economic, our social, our educational, our thought structures. So all of these are being challenged right now, very obviously. And the idea is that anything that's dysfunctional, anything that's broken, anything that demands recognition and renewal is going to come up to the surface so that we can collectively move towards a shift. So this is a very important part of this time, and the coronavirus to me represents the energies of fear that have been hiding in our collective repressed consciousness so that this can come up to the surface, so we can look at it clearly. This is exactly what the journey of a butterfly is all about. It's like we're moving out from a caterpillar consciousness where we operated on a certain paradigm, a certain base level of consciousness, and that's shifting now. And this process of shift isn't easy. There's chaos involved. There's turmoil, there's stress, there's fear. This is the cocooning phase through which we need to pass through in order for the butterfly to finally emerge. And this is what the Saturn-Pluto conjunction represents as we pass through this last phase of Capricorn, as Saturn enters into Aquarius. And the other thing that's happening now is that Jupiter is joining all these planets in conjuncting Pluto in Capricorn. So what's Jupiter? Jupiter accelerates. Jupiter brings spiritual energies into the fore. It allows us to join together, to create new systems. It brings this consciousness into awareness. So this is an opportunity, and this is a short-term transit is going on right now as we collectively join together, millions of us in the next day and two. So we can use this energy of Jupiter to evolve, to move into our next awakening. The other planet that's also involved here, I mean, actually there's so much happening, is Mars. Mars is also an energy that requires focus. It can destroy or it can awaken. And it's a time when we're going into this amazing polarity. As we're breaking out of duality, we're also entering into a time of deeper polarity, where the dark gets darker, where the light gets lighter. And finally, we find that we can break out of the duality of dark and light as we surrender to the new energy that wants to come through. This is the energy of the age of Aquarius. This is what we're moving towards collectively. But we must ask for it. This is the nature of reality, that the universe operates according to certain laws. And these laws have to do with embodying our spiritual awareness, our deeper truth, embodying it in such a way that we collectively demand the change, and we collectively offer ourselves as vehicles for this change. So each of us has our own role to play within this process. Another thing that is interesting for me, still continuing in the vein of astrology, is that the South Node is also in Capricorn. So it's conjuncting all of these planets that are passing through Capricorn, which represents the old energies, that represents our structures which are being pushed open. It's like the cocooning which is now being prepared. And the South Node represents the past. It's whatever may have worked in the past but no longer works. We're moving towards the North Node, which is our evolutionary destiny. And this is in the sign of Cancer, connecting with the hearts, connecting with the feminine, connecting with Mother Earth, connecting with nature, discovering what it means to be at home within ourselves. No matter what's happening, no matter where we are, no matter who we are with, no matter what the outer circumstances are, to find that home within our hearts and to be able to trust that place. And in that element of trust, transformation becomes possible. And this is really what we're being called to. The last 2-3 weeks of lockdown, many of us have been engaged in this very deep introspective process, taking time to meditate, taking time to go inwards, to contemplate, to investigate what's really going on this planet, what's really going on with ourselves. So, and all of us are now joining together as one consciousness, which is powerful. And until we do so, we're stuck in the old paradigm. So this is a tremendous opportunity to wake up. On the one hand, there's a polarity that could lead to dissolution, to breakdown. On the other hand, there's an energy that's moving us towards dissolving and evolving, breaking down and breaking through. And this is what's exciting for me at this time. 2020 is the turning point of this age. In many, many ways, 2020 is the ability to see clearly. It's the recognition that we've been going in a wrong direction as a collective. We've been working against each other, against nature, against the forces of life, against our own divine flow. And so it's an opportunity to face that and to turn around and to collectively move into a different direction. And these planetary energies are supporting us. Jupiter right now, Saturn in terms of breaking down old structures, Uranus in terms of preparing the field so that something new can come in, and Pluto in terms of going through this, assisting us, supporting us on so many levels. Pluto also represents the energy of the soul. So it's supporting us to break through the personal structures, the outer personality structures that keep us trapped in the matrix, so that we can awaken together. So it's a tremendous gift that we are given at this time. And the fact that we can use this opportunity together to unite our energies in this way is unprecedented. There are millions of us now on this planet who are demanding change, who are perceiving things differently. The wayseers, the ones who have come here, chosen this time to embody ourselves, to participate in this movement of transformation. So I want to welcome you all. I want to welcome you to this earth. I want to welcome you here to this moment as we join together. And we open to something unprecedented. Whatever is going on, whatever the truths and the false fallacies behind the coronavirus going on today, it's an opportunity to break through. And it takes a little bit of courage, because it means that we allow ourselves to face our fears, face our shadows. The coronavirus, or any kind of virus, any kind of illness, represents something that's been hidden within ourselves. It's coming up to the surface of consciousness, where we can then release the blockages or the hucha, as the Incas referred to this. And so particularly in this case is the energies of fear. What does fear do to us? Fear is in a state of unconsciousness. It prevents us from opening to who we really are. It prevents us from seeing clearly. It keeps us trapped in the mob consciousness, rather than allowing us to collectively rise into something precious and powerful. So we are addressing that part of us now. We're forced to. We're never ever going to go back to the way things were. It's impossible. In some ways it's like 9/11. Interestingly, the last time Saturn and Pluto came together in opposition was when 9/11 happened. And whatever you might believe about the causes, who was behind it, where it was supposed to take us, it was a major turning point in human history. And this is similar. It's like another layer of this Saturn-Pluto energy that we can use courageously and powerfully and unified together. So what I'd like to do with that preamble is to maybe go into a deeper meditation today. And being that it's the special time, the April 4th moment, actually someone pointed out that it's 444, April 4th, 2020, which adds to 4. Whatever that means, I'm not a numerologist, but it's interesting to me that, here we are, it's a special time because we make it a special time, whatever the outer circumstances may be, just because of the fact that we have chosen to come together and unify. It's a special time. So we are joining together with each other. We're joining together with Mother Earth, with all of the kingdoms of this earth. We're invoking with us now the energies of the invisible worlds, the nature spirits, the devas, the elemental beings, the dragons from within the earth, who are here to support a new chapter of life. We're also calling in our guides and teachers from all over the galaxy, if you wish to call on that. In human evolution, the ascended masters and evolutions beyond the human, those who have pointed the way towards us. There are many masters here on this earth right now, who are holding a space of awakening if we just surrender to that. So those energies are available to us. We just need to call them in and surrender to that wave coming through us now. We are much more powerful than we imagine ourselves to be. And this is a time that we are born for. So anytime there's polarity, anytime there's an intensification of dark and light, it's an opportunity to hold a space for the unified light to come through. In other meditations and gatherings, we've spoken about the supramental force, this unified light that's now entering into human history, and particularly since 1956, when major shifts began to happen as this supramental light first embodied itself in the matrix of matter. And now it's like a wildfire beginning to permeate the earth. So here we are. What a moment. So let's take this opportunity now to go through the Inka exercise. Many of you have been doing this with me during these days, and also during some of the workshops that we've been doing over the past years. So I'll guide you again through this, and let's just open ourselves as wide as possible to the universal forces that are seeking to come through now. This is the time that we've all been waiting for. There's no turning back in this time now to awaken. Alright, so take a moment, just take a few deep breaths. Become aware of who you are. Here as a personal self with your name and history, your thoughts, your feelings, your memories, and also as the universal self, the one spirit that moves through all things, that is all things. And we're going to open the door now between the shamanic realms, between the three worlds. So for those of you who might be new to this understanding, the middle world represents the world of our normal, everyday conscious awareness. So it's the world that we experience through the five senses, and the world that we understand through the rational mind. Beyond this are many other realms and dimensions where the shamans and the mystics have learned to navigate, and all of us are shamans and mystics. So it's not that someone has more capacity to go there. If you just learn how to do this as effectively as possible, it's something we can all experience. And the fact that there's so many of us bringing our energies here together today means that we can open these doorways even further. Alright, so now become aware of a bubble of light. And this bubble extends about 2 meters out beyond the physical body in all directions. And this bubble represents the boundaries of the middle world. So it's like a luminous egg, beautiful filaments of light weaving together to create this egg. And now we're going to open the door to the upper world and to the lower world eventually. We start by becoming aware of a window directly over the top of this egg. So about 2 meters above the top of your head. It's a circular window. And you simply open this now as wide as you can. It's like opening the blinds of a darkened room. There's nothing to do. And the moment you open that window, the light pours in. This unified light that emanates from the center of our galaxy, from the center of our universe, even from the space of unified oneness, which we define as the Self. So this light of the Self comes pouring in like this tremendous waterfall, pouring through this bubble, pouring through your physical bodies. Very intense frequency of electrical light. Notice where you experience this. Maybe there's some tingling sensations at the top of your head, through the crown, through the third eye, through different parts of the brain, eventually moving through the entire body. It's a very cleansing light, very purifying in its nature. So as it moves through the physical body, it begins to purify and cleanse the organ systems, the physical body itself. As it moves through the etheric body, it starts to cleanse the chakras, the nadis, the meridians. You feel the vitality awakening. You feel the flow of prana pouring through in new ways, releasing blockages, fears, hold-ups. And then as this light continues to move through the emotional body, the mental body, you notice the deep layers of fear, blockages that we've held. In deep levels of the mind, deep spaces within the collective unconscious begin to release. It's all coming up to the surface anyway during these times. With this action of Pluto, as Saturn and Pluto come into conjunction, as Jupiter energizes these transformational energies. So we begin to embody more and more of this light, passing through the physical, the etheric, the emotional, the mental bodies, releasing deep, deep layers of fear, conditioning, programs, places where we've been trapped in a matrix of illusion, misunderstandings about who we are, identifying with illusion rather than with the power of our living presence. And so as this electrical force continues to move down through this window, down through the bubble, down through our bodies, this deep cleansing process that begins to happen. Notice what's happening with your breath. Each time there's a clearing, there's a release of energy. Some of you may be experiencing some dizziness. As new centers begin to awaken within the brain, as more oxygen starts to flow, through the system as prana begins to awaken. Some of you may be experiencing palpitations or pulsations within your heart. The heart is so much more than a pump. It's our connection with who we are. And there's a frequency that begins to activate as that connection becomes stronger. And you might experience that frequency as a pulsing, a palpitating. Sometimes this can be even a bit painful, and that's okay. There's nothing to be afraid of. Just breathe into it. So you continue receiving this cosmic light, stronger and stronger electrical frequencies pouring through the entire four-body system, down, deep down into the earth. And then there's a response from the earth, from deep within the heart of Gaia. Remember, we are talking about our destiny, our evolutionary destiny. We're moving towards Cancer, astrologically speaking, which represents the Divine Mother, the Great Mother, Mother Earth, this force of unconditional love and support. And so you feel those energies now coming up from deep within the earth. You feel that force of light moving up through your feet in direct response to the electrical force coming downwards. So it's not like you have to create another window below your feet. The energies coming up from the earth are in direct response according to the law of reciprocity. Wherever energy moves in one direction, there's a response in the other direction. So there's an automatic response of light. You feel it's rising up through your feet, up through your body, the physical body, the etheric body, and then the emotional and mental bodies, all together comprising this bubble of light, extending 2 meters out. This light that comes up from the earth, in contrast to the descending light, is magnetic. So it's a very warm, deep, healing, nurturing, unconditionally loving energy. Very safe. It's the energy of the Mother. This is what Mother Earth is about. This is how she supports all life on this earth. Every single species, every single one of us, great or small, visible or invisible, large or minute. Wherever we've been releasing old traumas and fears, we are now filling that space with this healing light coming up from the earth. And you might imagine at the same time that you're releasing, if this coronavirus that we're experiencing in our planetary consciousness represents on some level our collective fears, our energies that have become like a cancer upon us. This healing light from the earth comes up to release that, to heal that, to open up a space where we can go beyond that, where we can acknowledge directly, without the need to be reminded through pain or fear or suffering, that it's time to wake up. So we've opened the door to the upper world. We're experiencing these forces of electrical light pouring in, down and through to the earth. And then there's a reciprocal action, and the energies from the earth start moving up as a magnetic force, rising up through the bubble, out through the window, to the sky. Notice the distinction between these two forces. One is much higher frequency, much quicker, much more intense. The other is slower, warmer, heavier, very nurturing, supportive, and healing. And as these two energies continue to move back and forth and back and forth, what happens, it creates a field of presence. And you notice that your sense of who you are begins to expand. You start expanding out beyond this bubble of light that you started with, beyond this 2-meter capacity. And as you expand, you connect with the fifth body, what many refer to as the causal body, the realm of the soul. Very subtle field. But as these two forces continue to move back and forth, you automatically begin to enter into this causal field. It's just how our body systems are configured. As long as these electrical and magnetic forces can flow unhindered, the connection to the causal body, the connection to the soul can be maintained. So it's all about keeping that window open, all about connecting with the energies of earth and sky, going beyond the personal self, recognizing who we truly are. It's not a mental awareness, it's not mental effort. It's just surrendering to these forces, to these energies, the magnetic and the electrical forces that are constantly flowing through life, that are constantly flowing through the universe. All things, all beings are electromagnetic creatures, at least here in physical dimensions. And so as we continue to expand, as the soul continues to experience itself as a subtle, ecstatic field of presence. You start experiencing yourself moving out through the planet, joining up with all those who are connected together in this meditation across the earth, across all of humanity, across all of nature, all species of life, the trees and the minerals, the grasses and the meadows, the mountains and the lakes, the volcanoes, the oceans, every species of animal and insect, the winged ones, the fish in the sea, the whales and the dolphins across the living waters, the invisible ones, the nature spirits, the elementals, the spirits of fire and earth, wind and water, and ether. We connect with the archangelic energies of fire, purification, of water, forces of healing, of wind, the awakening forces, of water, recovering our memories of who we are. All these archangelic forces are here with us, the energies of ether or plasma, connecting us beyond the physical worlds to multidimensional realities. Spirit and matter, recognizing each other as two aspects of the same consciousness. And so as we continue to expand and out further, feel yourself becoming one with the earth, one with Gaia, one with all the forces of life on this planet, deep within the earth and on the surface of the earth, within the seas, up in the mountains and the meadows, the forests, up in the air. The earth has her own subtle bodies. We're only aware of the physical body of the earth. And she has a prana body, her emotional body, her mental body, her soul body. And so as we connect even more deeply with the causal layers, begin to experience how your soul and the soul of the earth unify, become one. You're connecting with these very, very subtle fields now. And there's really no limits to how far out they can go. Continue to breathe. You might find that your breath becomes very subtle. Keep that window above your head open as wide as possible. And notice that this window, the size of this window, is now expanding exponentially. As you become one with Gaia, this window becomes the size of a polar opening, the North Pole. of our planet. From this space you're opening up to receive galactic cosmic energies and solar cosmic energies. And these galactic and solar energies start to pour in through this channel down to the earth, followed by a response from Mother Earth back to the sun, back to the center of our galaxy. There are literally galactic waves coming in from the center of our galaxy that move through every solar system every 12,000 years. This is the time. And so we now receive these intentionally and consciously. Very refined packets of information and light. Intelligent and conscious, that are shaping and guiding evolution. There's a whole network of light connecting different centers on this planet. Some refer to this as the ley lines, the meridians of the earth on the surface and deep within. And this network, this light matrix, is now becoming activated in response to this galactic frequency, to this galactic super wave. So a collective, unified energy field becomes a channel through which this galactic energy can come through and be received. So much gratitude. From Mother Earth. That we can allow this. After all, we are the nervous system of Gaia. We are the ones through which Gaia can communicate and connect beyond the boundaries of this space and time, out across the solar system, out across the galaxy, out across the universe. And so you find yourself expanding out even further beyond the solar system, out into the galaxy, connecting with the heart of the galaxy, receiving those very refined quanta of light. Bringing that frequency in, offering it to the heart of the earth. Feeling the response from the earth, the enormous gratitude and love as she awakens to her next evolutionary destiny, which includes us, not in the current form that we are, but as a new species, Homo luminous, divine human, no longer stuck in the matrix of duality. New genetics, resonant with this unified field of light. Bodies made beautiful in the light of this flow. Minds that are open to realms and dimensions beyond the rational. Capacities that we've never imagined before. Not through an external technology that demands the use of resources where we are taking rather than exchanging, but by connecting with an internal technology having to do with the subtle genetics of who we are, activating these genetics. This is what this age of Aquarius is about. This is what this next evolutionary destiny for our planet is about. It's something we've awaited for such a long time. We, speaking not so much as personal entities, but we as multidimensional beings, as we experience ourselves in this causal field. So experience yourself now expanding out through the entire physical universe, out beyond our current galaxy, to clusters of galaxies beyond, millions and billions of galaxies across the universe. Feel yourself joining, expanding through all of that. One vast electrical field. And the soul recognizes its identity with all of it. Going out to the very boundaries of creation, to the very edge of space and time. It's a very, very subtle field of light. Here your breath almost completely stops. And then you find yourself slipping past that boundary, that edge of creation, if there is such a thing. Where the entire physical universe is simply a pinpoint of dust in the vast landscape of the self. You experience yourself as the self now. It's simply a presence. Beautiful, grand, powerful presence. There may be qualities present within this presence, but who you are is beyond qualities, beyond definitions. And yet, as this presence enters into relationship with the physical universe, with your physical body, with your personal self, those qualities become manifest as beauty, as power, as love, as light, as trust, as wisdom. And this is who you are. Allow these qualities, allow this presence to permeate through all those layers of illusion that keep us trapped in a matrix of programming and of fear. In this field of presence, notice how all those layers of programming gradually diminish and dissolve. See this happening not just for your personal self, but for the collective self of humanity. As you join your consciousness with collective humanity, as you join your consciousness with Gaia, we now release deep layers of hucha, fear, separation, and duality. We release that paradigm, a patriarchal paradigm that we've lived in for the past 5,000 years or so, where we have pitted ourselves against the earth, against each other, against the forces of life, rather than simply seeing ourselves as part of it all, as one with it all, creators and co-creators with it all. It's a paradigm where the masculine and the feminine both have their place in balance. And we experience ourselves in between heaven and earth. As doorways connecting the two realms. And today, in this moment of time, and here on this earth and space, we connect with our divine presence, we connect with our collective power and intention. To choose a new path of wholeness and balance. We engage the power of Pluto, in some ways very much connected with the power of Sekhmet or Kali or Shiva. These gods and goddesses that represent the force of death followed by rebirth and transformation and renewal. Winter followed by spring. We're going through this cocooning phase now, where the old paradigm is being cast off. As long as we're attached to the security of the old, we will resist. And as soon as we surrender to the mystery of the new, we willingly surrender and step into the human butterfly. We step into Gaia, luminous, a new planetary evolution. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are Gaia. In the unveiling of this new consciousness, We've waited so long for this moment. And all we need to do is become a bridge. It's not up to us to shape exactly how this transformation happens. Just be willing to become the bridge so that these forces of unified light can enter into the field of duality where we experience the conflicts or the battles between dark and light. All we're doing is being the bridge. And then the supramental light can flow through in its own intelligence. Doing whatever is required on any level of structure. I'm feeling now how this field that we've been creating infiltrates across the entire planet, across and through, around, within and without. It's a powerful field. It's opening up dormant strands of light. It's a time that so many indigenous cultures have prepared us for and predicted for these times. It's a time of the rainbow warriors. It's a time of the sun-eyed children of a new dawn. Wide-browed creators in the quarries of the gods. So let yourself remain in this state. Of expansion and surrender, unity consciousness for as long as you wish. Keep renewing this by simply opening that window from time to time. If any of you would like to share your experiences with the rest of us, please do so. Just leave a comment at the end of this Facebook Live chat. And then we'll see each other again, those of you who would like to join once again, on Monday, 9 a.m. European time, which will be just before the full moon in Libra, another powerful time. So we choose our destiny. We make our choices based on who we are, rather than what we have been conditioned to believe about ourselves. Feel yourself being held in the arms of Gaia. One with the Great Spirit that moves through all things. Blessings and love.